Hello and good day, everyone. My name is Darlena Birch, MBA, RDN, and most importantly, public health dietitian. Welcome to my kitchen, aka Darlena's Kitchen, where I talk about the science behind nutrition, one, because I'm a dietitian, and two, because I was forced into a chemistry minor. But who's bitter? Not me. All views expressed on this channel are my own and do not represent the opinions of any entity with which I have been, am now, or will be affiliated. For today's video, I'm going to talk about the Nutrition Facts panel. But before I dive deeper into talking about the Nutrition Facts panel, I first want to credit the Food and Drug Administration for providing the content of today's video. I'll be sure to share the link to their website regarding the new Nutrition Facts label in the description box below. The nutrition information, the top section of a nutrition label, varies with each food and beverage product. It contains product-specific information such as serving size, calories, and nutrient information. The bottom section contains a footnote that explains the percent daily value and gives the number of calories used for general nutrition advice. So as you can see in the Nutrition Facts label presented on the screen, I've colored certain sections to help you focus on those areas that will be explained in detail. So the first section I'm going to discuss is the serving information. When looking at the Nutrition Facts label, first take a look at the number of servings in the package and the serving size. Serving sizes are standardized to make it easier to compare similar foods, and they're provided in familiar units such as cups or pieces, followed by the metric unit such as the grams. The serving size reflects the amount that people typically eat or drink, but it is not a recommendation of how much you should eat or drink. It's important to realize that all the nutrient amounts shown on the label, including the number of calories, refer to the size of the serving. Pay attention to the serving size, especially how many servings there are in a food package. For example, you might ask yourself if you are consuming half a serving, one serving, or more. So on the screen is a Nutrition Facts label for lasagna. You can see one serving of lasagna equals 1 cup. Therefore, if you ate 2 cups, then you would be consuming 2 servings. That means it's 2 times the calories and nutrients shown in that label. So you would need to double the nutrients and calorie amounts as well as the percent daily values to see what you are getting in 2 servings. The second section I'm going to discuss is the calorie section of the Nutrition Facts label. Calories provide a measure of how much energy you get from one serving of a specific food. So in the label on the screen for lasagna, you see that there are 280 calories, but what if you ate the entire package? Based on the label, one package of lasagna has 4 servings. Therefore, you would be consuming a total of 1,120 calories. To achieve or maintain a healthy body weight, balance the number of calories you eat and drink with the number of calories your body uses. 2,000 calories a day is used as the general guide for nutrition advice. Your calorie needs may be higher or lower depending on your age, sex, height, weight, and physical activity level. You can learn more about your estimated calorie needs by visiting www.choosemyplate.gov, and I will be sure to include the link in the description box below so that you can figure out what your estimated calorie needs are. Remember, the number of servings you consume determines the number of calories you actually eat. Eating too many calories per day is linked to overweight and obesity. Now, the third section I'm going to discuss is the nutrient section. The nutrient section shows some key nutrients that impact your health. You can use the label to support your personal dietary needs. Look for foods that contain more of the nutrients you want to get and less of the nutrients you want to limit. Key nutrients you'll want to get less of include saturated fat, sodium, and added sugars. Saturated fat, sodium, and added sugars are nutrients listed on the label that may be associated with adverse health effects, and Americans generally consume too much of them according to the recommended limits for these nutrients. They are identified as nutrients to get less of. Eating too much saturated fat and sodium, for example, is associated with an increased risk of developing some health conditions, like cardiovascular disease and high blood pressure. Consuming too much added sugars can make it hard to meet important nutrient needs while staying within calorie limits. But what are added sugars and how are they different from total sugars? Total sugars on the Nutrition Facts label include sugars naturally present in many nutritious foods and beverages, such as sugar and milk and fruit, as well as any added sugars that may be present in the product. No daily reference value has been established for total sugars because no recommendation has been made for the total amount to eat in a day. Added sugars on the Nutrition Facts label include sugars that are added during the processing of foods, such as sucrose or dextrose, foods packaged as sweeteners such as table sugar, sugars from syrups and honey, and sugars from concentrated fruit or vegetable juices. Diets high in calories from added sugars can make it difficult to meet daily recommended levels of important nutrients while staying within calorie limits. Please note that having the word includes before added sugars on the label indicates that added sugars are included in the number of grams of total sugars for the product. For example, a container of yogurt with added sweeteners might list total sugars as 15 grams, and then a line beneath it might state includes 7 grams of added sugars. This means that the product has 7 grams of added sugars and 8 grams of naturally occurring sugars, for a total of 15 grams of sugar. Now, nutrients to get more of include dietary fiber, vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium. Dietary fiber, vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium are nutrients on the label that Americans generally do not get the recommended amount of. They are identified as nutrients to get more of. Eating a diet high in dietary fiber can increase the frequency of bowel movements, lower blood glucose and cholesterol levels, and reduce calorie intake. Diets higher in vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium can reduce the risk of developing osteoporosis, anemia, and high blood pressure. Remember, you can use the label to support your personal dietary needs. As I've stated earlier, choose the foods that contain more of the nutrients you want to get and less of the nutrients you want to limit. The final section I'm going to discuss is the percent daily value section. The percent daily value is the percentage of the daily value for each nutrient in a serving of the food. The daily values are reference amounts of nutrients to consume or not to exceed each day, and they're expressed in grams, milligrams, or micrograms. The percent daily value shows how much a nutrient in a serving of food contributes to the total daily diet. The percent daily value also helps you determine if a serving of a food is high or low in a specific nutrient. So the question you may be asking is, do you need to know how to calculate percentages to use the percent daily value? No, because the label does the math for you already. It helps you interpret the nutrient numbers such as grams, milligrams, or micrograms by putting them all on the same scale for the day. The percent daily value column doesn't add up vertically to add 100%. Instead, the percent daily value is the percentage of the daily value for each nutrient in a serving of the food. It can tell you if a serving of a food is high or low in a nutrient and whether a serving of the food contributes a lot or a little to your daily diet for each nutrient. Please note that some of the nutrients on the nutrition facts label, like total sugars and trans fats, do not have a percent daily value, and I will discuss them later on. Now, as a general guide to understanding the percent daily value, just know that 5% daily value or less of a nutrient per serving is considered low, whereas 20% daily value or more of a nutrient per serving is considered high. In general, you should choose foods that are higher in percent daily values for dietary fiber, vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium, and lower in percent daily values for saturated fat, sodium, and added sugars. For example, if you look at what I've thrown up on the screen, you can see the amount of sodium in one serving listed on the nutrition label. Is the percent daily value of 37 contributing a lot or a little to your diet? You can check the general guide to the percent daily value. This product contains 37% daily value for sodium, which shows that this is a high sodium product. It has more than 20% of the daily value for sodium. Therefore, if you consume 2 servings, that would provide 74% of the daily value for sodium, which is nearly 3/4 of an entire day's worth of sodium. Now, with the percent daily values, you can use them to compare foods. You can use the percent daily value to compare food products and more often choose products that are higher in nutrients that you want to get more of and lower in the nutrients that you want to avoid. Now, remember to make sure the serving size is the same between the 2 products. It would be difficult to try and math in your mind the percent daily value for a serving size of 1 cup compared to a serving size of 3/4 of a cup. It's also important to understand the nutrient content claims. You can use the percent daily value to help distinguish one claim for another, such as light, low, and reduced. Simply compare percent daily values in each food product to see which one is higher or lower in a particular nutrient. There is no need to memorize definitions. You can use the percent daily value to help you make dietary trade-offs with other foods throughout the day. You don't have to give up a favorite food to eat a healthy diet. When a food you like is high in saturated fat, just balance it out with foods that are lower in saturated fats at other times of the day. Also, pay attention to how much you eat during the entire day so the total amount of saturated fat, as well as the other nutrients you want to limit, stays below 100%. So how do the daily values relate to the percent daily values? Look at the example on the screen for another way to see how the daily values relate to the percent daily values and dietary guidance. For each nutrient listed in the table, there is a daily value, a percent daily value, and dietary advice or a goal. If you follow this dietary advice, you will stay within public health experts' recommended upper or lower limits for the nutrients listed based on a 2,000 calorie diet. Now I want to talk about upper limits. The upper limit means it's recommended that you stay below or eat less than the daily value nutrient amounts listed per day. For example, the daily value for saturated fat is 20 grams. This amount is 100% of the daily value for that nutrient. So what's the goal of dietary advice? To eat less than 20 grams or 100% of the daily value each day. The lower limit means to eat at least. The daily value for dietary fiber is 28 grams, which is 100% of the daily value. This means it's recommended that you eat at least this amount of dietary fiber on most days. Now, nutrients without a percent daily value include trans fats, proteins, and total sugars. Note that trans fats and total sugars do not list a percent daily value on the nutrition facts label, and protein only lists a percent daily value in specific situations. With regards to trans fats, experts could not provide a reference value for trans fat nor any other information that FDA believes is sufficient to establish a daily value. Please check out my episodes on fatty acids and trans fats to learn more about this form of fat. Now, according to the Dietary Guidelines for Americans, there is evidence that diets higher in trans fats are associated with increased blood levels of low-density lipoprotein, also known as LDL or bad cholesterol, which in turn are associated with an increased risk of developing cardiovascular disease. Now, I do also want to make you aware that most uses of artificial trans fats in the U.S. food supply have been phased out since 2018. With regards to protein, a percent daily value is required to be listed if a claim is being made for protein, such as high in protein. The percent daily values for protein must also be listed on the label if the product is intended for infants or children under 4 years of age. However, if the product is intended for the general population, 4 years of age and older, and a claim is not made about protein on the label, the percent daily value for protein is not required. Now, with regards to total sugars, there's no daily reference value that has been established for total sugars because recommendations have not been made for the total amount to eat in a day. Keep in mind that the total sugars listed on the nutrition facts label include naturally occurring sugars like those in fruit and milk, along with added sugars. Thank you for joining me today. If you like what you see, please smash the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And remember, you are your own best advocate. Feed your body well, nourish your soul, nurture your mind, and nutrify your spirit. Remain true to yourself and never forget that every second forward is another opportunity to be a better version of your past self.